Hello everyone, today we will be looking at the creation of project budget. As a project manager, it is very important that you have an idea on how to create a budget. Before we proceed, I would just want to highlight what you will learn in the course of this training today. I've got on here a finished budget that has been planned by myself. It is just a simple illustration for you to get hands on it. So, just a quick one. I just want to explain how I understand budget. So, in my own understanding, budget is a financial plan that captures how much it will cost to achieve the project objective. So this financial plan will have to do with your consideration of the personnel that is needed to execute the project, the materials that are needed, operational needs in terms of haulage of materials, and your contingency. As project managers, some persons tend to overlook the area of contingency, but I would advise that for you to be able to have a successful project, it is very pertinent that you consider your contingency. On our project plan, we will be using 15% of the total amount that we have considered in the course of evaluating the project for our contingency. So without much ado, let me go through that with yourself. So the finished sheet should look something like this, not exactly that, but it should look something like this with a chart on the side. So let's go through that with yourself. I've got open here a plain sheet, and on the plain sheet I'll just quickly pop in there budgets, or say budget sample. Okay, so we will be doing some copy and paste in the course of this training just to save our time, please. So I have input budget sample on there, so I will quickly create a duplicate of that sheet, and on the duplicate sheet I will rename this section as my code section just to have a neat sheet, and on here I will rename this as my budget sheet. Okay, so on the code section I will be considering some sections, which is category, let me make that bold so you can appreciate what I'm doing. Okay, so I've got the category, and on the category I will be considering my labor as discussed. Okay, and we've got our materials, and we've got our operations, and we've got our contingency. Okay, so one other thing that we'll be considering as well in the course of this section is we want a situation whereby if we are imputing the values in terms of the variance, if the variance drop below 0, we should have a note on our sheet, and if it is above 0, it should also have a note, and if the value is on 0, we should have a note. So what I am considering for my note section is I want to have on the spend. So if I have above 0, that is, let's say I've got £50 left after calculating my variance, that means I've underspent. And if I have below £50, that means I've overspent. Okay, so let's have that on there. And if I am having just £0, that means everything is working well for myself and it is neutral. So I want to be seeing neutral as well as on the spending on my budget, not overspending. So let's quickly pop in those, and on here I will have my color code. So just impute my color code there, cancel this one out, and let me impute my color code. So I want to use green for on the spending, which is good, and white for neutral, and red, which is not good, so that we can be able to track by visual understanding. Okay, so that has been done on here for my code section. So let's go back to our budget sheet. On our budget, we want to create different rows. On the different rows that my formats, no, I'll click my validation from data and place on there and click on add. And here for the drop down, I want to add by range. Okay, so I'll click on here and go to the section where I want to add by range. So I'll drag that down and I'll say OK, and I can change the colors of that section just for beautification purpose, does nothing other than beautification purpose. So let's do the contingency on there and we'll pop that in for yourself. So when we go back, we can see that we've got those on there. Okay, so we can easily drag it down onto this section. We drag it back. My system is slow at the moment, bear with me please. Quickly undo and let me drag it. Okay, so I've got that done for yourself. So now we want to do our estimates. So I already have an estimate value. Let me quickly pop those in there for you for our time's sake. Okay, so let's quickly pop in that for our time's sake, and we've got our estimates. So you can see that I do not have a value for the contingency. Okay, so we are going to do just that. So as previously discussed, I said that our contingency will be, quickly click on that, our contingency will be 15% of our subtotal. Okay, so how do we get that contingency now? All I need to do is to say contingency, say subtotal here, and let's come here and equal the sum, and take that by 1 up, say enter, and we need to take that 1 up, say 7 on there. Okay, so that is our subtotal contingency value. Contingency fund will be, our contingency fund will be this value here, asterisk 0.15, that is 15%, so that will be our contingency value. So we want to take that value to this section. Okay, click on here and enter. So that is the value for our contingency. Now we want to go through the section of your actual spending in the course of executing the project, and you notice that you have spent this amount of money without using your contingency. Okay, so now we've got those values there. And for the transport, let's just put a value on there for you. Let's say 450 for the transport, and let's quickly format that so we don't have issues. Let's say currency. Okay, number, let's say currency. Okay, right, so these are all currencies. Okay, let's quickly format those. Currency, come here and say currency format. So we want to check the variance, so all we need to do is to impute the difference between the estimated cost minus the actual cost, that is our variance. So we drag that section, the side of it, to that point. Okay, now we want to get our note on there. We go back to our code. So remember I said on our note we want this. If it costs this amount, this is what we should have. So we want to pop in our scripts here. Okay, so on here we say equal to if in brackets, okay, if in bracket what, come here and say if this value, okay, that we want to pop in there is to highlight that when this value, the values that we've got on here, this will be our consideration, we determine what will be on here. Okay, so let's do that. So say equal to if if the value in here, is greater than 0, we will have is greater than, that means it's a positive. We will have underspent, so we have underspent. Okay, comma, and we copy all this value here. If you go to my previous video, I've explained that process previously, but this is another approach. So just quickly copy those, and let me put my last bit on there and say no. Okay, so all we need to do is to quickly make changes on this. Say if it is less than, it's underspent, overspent, overspent, and if it is equal to, then we will say it is neutral. Okay, neutral is good. Okay, so that is done for yourself. So if we come back here, you can see that we can bring that value equal to and go to our code and pop this here and say enter, and we'll have this on there. So what we will do here is to drag this down, and we go here and we drag this down. Okay, so I have got my note on there. So the beauty of this is you can have this and easily make changes on your sheet, and it will be effected on there. You can see the changes on that section. Okay, so you can create it and you can make changes on this information here in terms of your actual value, and it will change on here. So let's say, for example, you say 6. As the project is going, you can see it has gone to neutral, and you have 10,000 here. You can see it has gone to overspent. So that is how to create your project budget. So all you need to do is to highlight the category that it falls into on here. This is materials, operation, and contingency. So we want to make sure that we can be able to see if there is variation. We can see it in colors, so it kind of call our attention and say, oh, something is not going well on that section. So let's quickly do that for yourself. So we highlight here and we go to our formats, our condition, and on our condition we want to say when the test contains underspending, underspent. We said if it contains underspent, it should be green, and that has been highlighted. And the next one we want to have is when it contains neutral, we want it to be white. Just put in our white there, Okay, and done. We had the next condition when the test contains overspent. We want it to be red. Okay, and let's make that white and say done. Okay, so that is our condition. Okay, so you can beautify your work if you want. You can make this whole section centralized. Okay. Can make this section centralized. Clicking on here. Okay. And we don't want the negative sign. You can format that to accounting, so you look professional, or you want your zero to show, you can use the finance. Okay, so depending on your preference, please. So in my own case, I want to use currency. Okay, so that has been done. Now we want to get our total variation. So our budget will be this value. This will be our budget. So our total budget is equal to the total sum of this value. Okay, so let's say sum So if you've got more items, you impute those items and it should be able to give you your total budget. So that is how to create your budget. And let me quickly add the variation on there for you, please. So now you've got your actual budget. On here you did make use of your contingency, putting your zero there. So you want to check the difference. All you need to do is to say difference is equal to this budget minus this is the total here. Bear with me. So we want to find out what value is on here. Okay, so that is your value, that is your difference. So the actual amount spent. Okay, so let's say total actual costs, and include that there, with that, bring it down there. Okay, so you can make your total, your variance, you can give your variance condition. Just quickly put in that condition for the variance. So if the variance is greater than, let's say the variance is greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to 0, okay, it should be green. Okay, let's make the green darker. Okay, then if it is less than 0, let's give it a red. That means there's a problem. So let's give it a red. Okay. So let's assume that we put on our contingency £3,000, and you can see overspent and it has changed to red. So the rest that comes on here now is all about beautification. So we've done the main bits. All we need to do is to beautify our table so that anybody that comes across this table should appreciate what has been done here. Okay, thank you to everyone that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. I'm still appealing. I'm growing my community. Please do well to click the subscribe button, join the family, so we can be bringing more of these lectures to yourself, more of this training to yourself. I believe this training will be beneficial to some persons in the university, those that are new in the practice, and it can also be applied in our personal lives, because everything today we need the knowledge of budgeting. So this training is very important that we take it in, or we send it across to those that we think it would be of help, please. Okay, so we finished the training. Thank you for your time. This other aspect is just me playing with my shots. Okay, just before I go, I forgot the aspect that I promised. It's good that you're still here. So let's quickly do the other section. So all we need to do to create our chart, before I forget, is to highlight this information on here. Right, so I've got my item, I've got my estimate cost and actual cost. All we need to do is to click on insert, and that is it. So you've got your estimate cost versus your actual cost. Okay, so you can easily present this to the clients, because they want to see, all they want to see is visuals. They don't want to they don't want to be bothered about those nitty-gritty of what you do with Excel. Is this final chart that matters. So when they look at it, they know, oh, red is slow on project manager, red is high on developer. What are they doing that is taking all our money? So those are the things they'll be looking out for. So thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you on our subsequent trainings. Please, you have a great day. Thank you.